All right, yeah, number 10. So now we're going to talk about the hard one. The hard one is, okay, so we created this nice easy pool. The one that was like, it's still 100 feet long, it's still a half feet tall, right? But we decided, we're like, hey, whatever number we have to multiply to get to our number, it's fine. So if it's smaller than 1250, that's okay. If it's bigger, that's okay. So it either underflows or overflows. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, mine overflows because it's a big pool. Okay. Obviously, there's going to be a point at which it underflows. I think it's somewhere around 7 feet. When your pool hits about 7 feet wide, and it doesn't fill up this 1200. Okay? So, right now I'm going to show you an overflow, and then I'll show you an underflow, because overflows and underflows are two totally different ways. Okay? Because what we're doing with the overflow is we're just adding to this piece. You see what I mean? Who's sleeping? Sky, you were just awake. We had you. Nice little jewel catch. All right. So, all we're going to do is we're going to add to both sides. We're going to add to this length, right? And to the width. The same amount. Okay? The same amount. So there's going to be a x added to the 100 and an x added to the 25. Does that make sense? So when we make this problem up, we say x plus 25 times x plus 100, right? And that's going to equal, hold up. Because we also have to multiply it by the height, right? So times 0.5, right? And that's going to equal whatever number I have here. Now because it's bigger, that's why we're adding more. Does that make sense? So I got 16.956222. Okay? All right. So, here's the cool part. To get rid of this half, I got to multiply by 2. Does that make sense? So 2 times a half is a whole. What I do to one side, I got to do to the other. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to multiply it by 2. And hopefully it's still in my darn calculator, which it is. So that makes it easy. Like that piece, I just say times 2 equals. So, x plus 25 times x plus 100 is equal to 3633.91244.5. Okay? Just numbers. But this is the hard part to this problem. Because now we do that clamshell. You remember, you have me in 2 classes, right?
Yeah.
And so we're doing that deck. Remember when we had to do that clamshell on the deck, right? So this is the same clamshell. Okay? So it's x times x is x squared. X times 100 is 100x. 25 times x is plus 25x. And 25 times 100 is plus 2500. And that equals this 3633.912445, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract this from that. Does that make sense? Because it has, in order to solve a quadratic, to solve a quadratic, we have to have it equal to 0. Does that make sense? Okay? So what I'm going to do is 2 things. One, I'm going to subtract this. Okay? from both sides. Okay? In other words, since it's already in my calculator, I'm just going to hit negative answer plus 2,500. Because what does that do? You made it negative, so it's really subtraction. Does that make sense? Hit equals, and now I've got my negative 1133.912445. Okay? Now, we could round this off, and we would do just fine. The thing is, the longer your number is, the more accurate everything's going to be. That's what's kind of nice about keeping it like this. Does that make sense? Okay? So then when we add these two pieces, I get 125. Does that make sense? X. And then x squared. Now, there's a number out in front of that x. It's 1, right? So we have A, B, and C. Remember? Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's what we're doing. We're doing our x equals, right? Our quadratic formula. This is a quadratic because it's a power of 2. Okay? So since it's a quadratic, the only way to solve a quadratic, if we can't factor it, which when you got numbers like this, you're not going to factor it. Does that make sense? As long as it equals 0, which it does, because we subtracted it from both sides, right? We got it going on. So what is negative b? Well, what is b? 125, right? Plus or minus the square root of 125 squared, right? Minus 4 times A is 1, times C, which is the big number, negative 1133.92445. It's just a number, guys. We're just throwing a number in the darn calculator. It's no big deal. Does that make sense? It's not a big deal. It's just another big number in the calculator. All over 2 times A, which is 1. Okay? Now, think about this. This is where, hey, woo, wake up. We got 4 people sleeping. Come on. 1 on the phone, 3 asleep. All right, now we woke up 2. Okay, that's good. 1's still on the phone. But she's smiling, so she's listening. Okay, so, all right, so what's going to happen here is when I subtract, this is a negative number. If I subtract more negative, what happens? It's going to become more negative, right? So can we have a negative side to our pool or to our curve or whatever we're going to create, where we're going to pump this water? We can have a negative side, right? So what we got to do is not have the negative. So in this one, on this problem, we're not going to subtract, we're going to add only. Does that make sense? Now, when we do the other problem, when we're doing the minus, you're going to find out that you do the opposite. You're not going to, because this will be a negative, so it'll be a plus, and you'll find out that you really want to add, whatever. So when we get there, we'll have fun. Anyways, so we're going to add to this thing. We just got to add these numbers. So I'm going to square root. I'm going to take this square root. So I got 125. So I already have this in there. So why don't I just multiply that by negative 4 real quick, right? So times negative 4, and now I have that number, okay? Now all I have to do is add that number that I just got, which is, this times 4 is like 4,535.64 9779, right? And all I have to do is add that to 125 squared, right? I just go 125 squared. Boom. So now I've got this big, huge number that's in this square root, right? 20160.64978. Well, what am I going to do with that? Take the square root of it, right? So I'm going to hit second squared, second answer, and that gives me this square root. Does that make sense? So now I come down, and I've got negative 125 plus 141.988203 all over 2. And don't forget, this wasn't a problem. We were just getting done with that square root part, okay? So deal with your square root. So now I have my 141, right? What am I going to do to that? I'm going to subtract 125 from it, that's all. So I'm going to say minus 125, hit equals, and I get 16.98820296 all over 2. So what am I going to do there? Divide by what?
2.
Simple, right? So what's that going to give me about? Come on, 16 divided by 2. 8. Yeah, so it equals 8.49410148. That's how much I'm going to be adding onto each side. Now, how do I know it's true? How do I know it's true? Okay? Check your work. Check this out. Right? I'm going to take that number and I'm going to add it to 25. And then I'm going to take that same number and I'm going to add it to 100. I'm going to multiply those two numbers and then I'm going to multiply it by half. And what should it equal? It better equal the exact amount that I have. Does that make sense? The closer it is, the better I did. Does that make sense? Okay? So, the closer it is, the better I did. So let's see how good I did, okay? I'm going to take that number right there, I'm going to add it to 100, plus 100. That was easy. Okay? Now, I'm going to say times, and I'm going to do parentheses, because I got to do the 25 plus that. So that's why I have to do parentheses. So I added it to the 100. So I got 108 point blah blah blah, which was easy. Okay? And then I probably should have just added it to the 25 and then I could have typed in 108. That would have been easier, right? But parentheses 25 plus 8 point, and what does it say?
8.49410147.8.
That's a long number, but it's just a number. It's just a freaking number. You just put it in, right? Okay? Hit your in parentheses. And then what are we going to times it by? A half, right? 0.5. And I get 0.5. And I get equals. And guess what I got? 1816.9562222. What is that?
12.
That's this shiz night right there. I just hit that biatch out to. Look at that. I nailed it. How many places is that? That's 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 1 million. That's crazy. 6 decimals. I just hit that biatch for out to 6 decimals exact. That's nuts. That's like, that's physics right there. That's what you got to do for physics. Does that make sense? We don't need to do that to build a pool and you know what I'm saying, and to pour water out of a pool. But for physics, that's what you got to be able to do, because every piece that goes on that ship that you send out into space, everything has to be exact. I mean, they have to know to the nano freaking weight, gram, whatever you want, kilogram, however much you want to talk about, pounds, whatever it is. They need to know exactly how much weight they're taking. They don't throw out into space just like, oh yeah, no, they calculate exactly everything you take. Like you can't take a certain patch unless they tell you can take that certain patch. You can't take a picture of your family unless they say you can take that picture of your family. You see what I mean? Because everything is weight. And they can only take so much weight. Does that make sense? All right.